Welcome to the F1 Debate Show. We bid farewell to two Formula 1 legends.
We talk about Zach Brown joining McLaren.
We talk about the Duel in the desert.
And we talk about Sauber signing Marcus Ericsson for a third season.
But here we are, guys, the final F1 Debate Show of the 2016 Formula 1 season, and it is so heated at the moment. Obviously, we head into the final round, which is the Duel in the Desert this weekend at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but we'll talk about that more in the episode as the episode progresses. But the first thing that we're going to start with is obviously the two Formula 1 legends that bow out of Formula 1 after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that is British driver Jenson Button and Brazilian driver Felipe Massa. Absolutely unbelievable legends that have been in Formula 1. They have been in over a decade in Formula 1, which is that's a hell of a long time, that. And they have achieved so much in their time. Obviously, Jenson more so than Felipe, because obviously, as we all know, Jenson Button was the 2009 Formula 1 World Championship. He won it in a superb manner with Brawn GP, a very new team, and as I call it, the blink and you'll miss it season or moment in Formula 1. And obviously, Felipe Massa is very unfortunate. He hasn't won a Formula 1 World Championship. But the thing is, though, guys, get that out of your head if you think that's bad, because it's not, okay? Because for somebody who, doesn't really like Formula 1 or, just watches it on the weekends or doesn't really follow it, obviously, to the extent of me or JT or anyone like that, they'll think, he hasn't won a Formula 1 World Championship. He's a good driver. He might be. But, he's not great. You haven't done out. Come on, man. But obviously, as I said, get that out of your head, because he has achieved so much in his career. Being so long in Formula 1, I mean, even being in Formula 1 is an honour. I'd say his biggest honour when he was a young driver was obviously getting to Ferrari, the prancing horse, and being there for multiple years. Obviously, it's a great achievement getting to Ferrari, obviously the longest serving team in Formula 1. It's another one staying at Ferrari and obviously doing all the things in between, such as winning, getting on the podium, I should have started with, then winning, getting points, getting kudos, getting loads of respect, obviously working with some unbelievable drivers and some unbelievable people. And that's what I'm going to start with by saying that Felipe Massa has the biggest sporting bromance ever that you can even class in Formula 1 or sport in general worldwide, and that is the relationship, the bromance between Rob Smedley and Felipe Massa. Absolutely unbelievable, guys. And I mean, Rob Smedley, obviously an amazing bloke, tells it how it is, and more importantly, he is from Middlesbrough, which is in our region in the country, which is absolutely amazing.
Very, very honoured.
We have some unbelievable people in our region, don't we, JT? We have
we do.
We have Rob Smedley. We have Sir Frank Williams, who was born in South Shields, which is literally up the road from me. And then obviously JT's favourite, who was born in Berwick, just off the Scottish borders, which is Jim Clark. So obviously that is an unbelievable achievement.
The legend himself.
I don't mean achievement. I don't know who that is achievement for, being born in Berwick, but obviously it is for us anyway. So every time
there's an award for being born in Berwick.
So every time we pass it on the train or something going to Scotland, and you can be like, Jim Clark lived there. But I'm going to say every time I pass South Shields on the way to Newcastle to meet Jordan, I'm like, Sir Frank Williams was born there. I might write it like on the bus link or something. Anyway, getting off that. But it's kind of linked with Williams, because obviously as you know, Felipe Massa drives for Williams at the moment. But when he was at Ferrari, obviously absolutely unbelievable achievement. He was fighting for, I would class it as, 3 world championships. He fought in 2007 against his teammate Kimi Räikkönen and obviously rookie and McLaren driver Lewis Hamilton. 2010, which obviously he fought with loads of drivers. That was like a free-for-all. But then you might be thinking, well, I've missed out a year, and I have, but I'm going to keep the best for last. And that obviously is probably one of the best, probably the best championship deciders we have ever seen. And I'm not going to tell you that Felipe Massa didn't win the Formula 1 World Championship in 2008. I'm going to tell you that he won it for 25 seconds, which again is a very much honour. So yes, obviously he rolled into the Brazilian Grand Prix. He did an unbelievable, it was a rain race, obviously it was his home race, a race that he won. He crossed the line in first place, thinking, I've won. But then obviously, fortunately, about 25 seconds later, he got the news that Lewis Hamilton had beat him to it. Obviously, had beat Timo Glock, as passed him, and then won the World Championship. But as I say, we're not going to mention that he didn't win it. We're going to mention that he won it only for a bit. But obviously, unbelievable, absolutely amazing. And that guy, so let's start off with Felipe Massa before we jump into Jenson Button. And the biggest thing that I think Felipe leaves Formula 1 with, JT, is a big box labelled Formula 1, and it's full of memories. I mean, Felipe Massa has unbelievable memories in Formula 1.
Oh, yeah.
He has some bad memories, obviously, where he's lost things, he's lost races, he's lost championships. He could have nearly lost his life obviously a few years ago. So that's obviously very upsetting, and he's lost other things in Formula 1. But he's never lost anyone's respect and admiration, and we all love Felipe Massa. And basically, JT, if you need any proof of that, I don't mean just you, I mean everyone out there, don't worry.
No, I'm not going to provide just proof. There you go.
But guys, if you need proof of that, okay, just go and watch the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. He span, he retired, it was a sad moment. He was crying, but then he went to go and get the Brazilian flag, he went to go and get his wife, he went to go and get his little kid, and they walked through the pit lane. Obviously, thankfully, it was closed at that point, because actually, if it was open, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So thankfully, it was closed. So he walked through there. First team to greet him was Mercedes, all in a line, clapping away. So did Ferrari, obviously his ex-team. So did Williams. It really, really, really was such a touching moment.
It was amazing.
And then obviously, I know that wasn't his last race, that was his penultimate race, but that was his home race. And I mean, that actually lifted the Blues and a half from what he'll have been feeling, obviously crashing out of his last home race. So JT, obviously, Felipe Massa leaves with a big treasure chest full of memories in Formula 1. And boy, there were some cracking memories, weren't there?
Some unbelievable memories. Massa is going down in the Formula 1 Hall of Fame, definitely, without one of the best drivers in the modern era of Formula 1. And I mean, if there's anybody that deserves a world championship, it is definitely Felipe Massa. Came so close yet so far in 2008. I mean, crossing the line, 25 seconds he lasted before Lewis Hamilton overtook Timo Glock. Is that Glock? As Martin Brundle famously quoted. And obviously that was that, and obviously it was absolutely good. But the manner he showed it in afterwards, being on that podium, obviously giving it that to his chest, thanking the fans, true professional sportsman, definitely without a doubt. And that just proves, and that just like shows how good of a guy he is. And that not only, I mean, you don't have to win a Formula 1 World Championship to become a legend in Formula 1, just how professional you are on and off the track. Massa was so professional on the track, he was even more professional off the track. I even had the pleasure of seeing him when I went to the Autosport show in the start of this year in January. I've nearly got his autograph, but unfortunately I didn't. He got turned away by his PR or whoever. But I seen him speaking and everything. It was really, really nice. And obviously I didn't know at that time he was going to leave, but obviously I'm absolutely devastated he is leaving. But he is leaving a very good legacy in Formula 1. And he should undoubtedly be world champion. And just what else he was saying there about the partnership with Rob Smedley. I mean, absolutely one of the best partnerships ever in Formula 1. I mean, you always get like title rivals partnerships, that you obviously Prost, Senna, Schumacher, Hill. Then you get like teammates as well, like Vettel, Webber, and Schumacher, Barrichello, and and stuff like Hamilton, Rosberg, for instance. But for this one, you have Massa, Smedley. From 2006 till his last season of Ferrari in 2013, they were together as pretty much like man and wife, let's say. Probably better than like a happy couple married and all that. It was absolutely amazing friendship they had. Some of the best moments ever in Formula 1, such as, most famously, I'll say, Fernando is faster than you. Never be forgotten in Formula 1. It's been 6.5 years since he said that, and it's still floating around in the paddock to this day. Even some of the younger generations who probably won't remember that are even saying it now. Fernando is faster than you. It's just absolutely incredible.
It is unbelievable.
And obviously Rob Smedley now being a part of Williams, I was so hoping, Elsie, that Smedley would be Massa's engineer for one last time, so we can hear that partnership all over again. But I don't know if that isn't going to happen, obviously. But I am devastated that isn't going to happen. But at the same time, Felipe Massa is undoubtedly a brilliant driver, very nice lad, and obviously I wish him all the best in the future. But obviously, not only Felipe Massa is leaving, Jenson Button's leaving, Elsie. That's if you want to put some salt in the wounds about Massa, then let's put even more salt in it. Put some more salt in them wounds, because Jenson Button is leaving it as well at the end of the 2016 season. Now this one is a little bit different, because we know Massa's retirement. He said that he's going. He's going away from Formula 1. He's going to do whatever in his life, whether it be motorsport or whatever. But Jenson Button, we don't know if he's going or not. People are saying there's about an 80% chance he's going, but he hasn't officially confirmed if he's going or not, because apparently he's got another 2-year contract with McLaren. However, it's like an ambassador role type of thing. He's going to work behind the scenes of McLaren, watch over proceedings as well, maybe be like a test driver as well, to maybe test a car or something like that, in and out of Formula 1 sessions. Not necessarily every weekend, just maybe probably the European races, I would expect. and maybe it's just some in-season tests where they might go, oh, Jenson, do you fancy doing a couple of hours in this car? We need to test the new tyres, we need to test this new part or whatever. So they'll go, alright, okay, get to manage the car. But Jenson Button won World Championship, as Elsie said about the 2009 season. Blink and you'll miss it. That's pretty much what the definition of that season. And Jenson Button, undoubtedly one of the best and nicest guys ever in Formula 1. 17 years in the sport. Came in the sport, I think, about the age of 18 or 19 years old. It's just been an absolutely great sport. Peak of his career, obviously 2009. But I think the best point of his career was when he was partnership with Lewis Hamilton at McLaren. At that point, the team were doing so well, that the car was good, the team was good, the team spirit was high. Lewis at this point had his feet firmly on the ground, as did Jenson. Now Lewis is like, he's more social media now, he's more, lifestyle, but obviously that's about Lewis Hamilton's life. Jenson Button's obviously still loyal to McLaren. He's been there for 7 years. He's going to stay on as an ambassador role, and I expect once his time is done in Formula 1, he will continue his role with McLaren. But Elsie, there is going to be a dry eye at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, not throughout the circuit as well, but also on at home, in England, in Italy, in Spain, especially in Brazil, when these two finally bow out and say, this is our last lap in Formula 1, and we'll see you later. That's pretty much how it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, how are you actually mentally prepared for this, to say goodbye to these two? Or do you think maybe that this is the wrong call, or maybe do you think that this is the right call for these two, Elsie, to bow out Formula 1?
I think JC, I think yes, because obviously Felipe Massa, obviously he's got a family, he wants to come out of Formula 1, he wants to come out in style as well, obviously he wants to finish on a very high note. I wouldn't say he's had enough of Formula 1, but obviously he's been in Formula 1 for a very long time. The bigger thing that I use to compare that is obviously, I remember when, about a month ago, when Jenson Button was in an interview with Murray Walker, and he said that obviously since the age of about 7, 6 or 7, something like that, when he was very, very young, his life has been motor racing, obviously from the help of his dad and things like that. He's done it's been like a sportsman, going to the gym all the time. That was his life. That's all he's done, karting and all of that. And obviously, as we know, Jenson Button, he does triathlons, stuff like that. Obviously that's his biggest thing, triathlons that he does. He's got one set up, I think it's around Derby, something like that, around in south of England, near Silverstone. Again, it's around Silverstone as well. Obviously, he does loads of things. He goes around the world. He does all these sporting events. So I think Jenson wants to kind of focus on that. And Felipe, he wants to maybe he could settle down and obviously help with his family.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he could obviously take an interest in Formula 1. He could buy a team. He could help out behind the scenes or whatever. He could stick with Williams, much like how Jenson might with McLaren. But as you said, JT, he's got 2 years on his contract. He might help behind the scenes. Yeah, you're right. He might be in the car, obviously doing some test laps and things like that. That would be strange, that guys. We see in FP1, we see that normally we get a notification on the phone saying a 16-year-old has been given the chance to do FP1 for Manor. But then now we'll be seeing on our phones it'll say 38-year-old Jenson Button gets a chance to drive the McLaren for FP1, and we're like, what's going on here? Like, that'll be
crazy to see.
But obviously, it will be crazy to see, because obviously the tables were turned this year. Obviously, and last year, obviously, when Jenson stood out and gave Stoffel Van Dorn a chance in FP1. But obviously, Jenson's coming back. Again, as JT said, we're very unsure. So again, that's the only thing that I think we mentioned this in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It throws a spanner into the works. Are we going to celebrate his last race in Formula 1 on Sunday? We are. But are we going to celebrate it as an achievement of his whole career in Formula 1? Because if we do, we don't want to, as JT said in the preview, we don't want to blow those balloons back up. At the end, in the 2018 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, or the season climax in 2018, and go, oh, Jenson, we're celebrating it again.
Let's get a cake back. Oh well.
We hope it isn't. We hope it isn't out of date. Sell by date. Just add on 2 years, and it should be fine.
Yeah, of course it will. Of course.
So whoever's doing the McLaren. Whoever's doing the McLaren party planning on Sunday, make sure you're right on the kick November 2018. So then it runs out, so we can keep it for 2018 in case he comes back. Not saying that he'll only have one season and then leave, but we're really unsure. But obviously, Jenson Button, JT, as I said at the start of the episode, we're not going to dwell on anything bad or anything negative or what could be. We're going to celebrate their careers so far. It's absolutely unbelievable from Jenson. So he will bow out in style, and as you said, JT, not a dry eye in the arena or in the circuit. He was an unbelievable guy, and he's also an unbelievable guy off the track. We have never met him, unfortunately, but as you know, he's very nice. He's so nice. He gives loads to his fans. He's so nice, and he is like the. So basically, I'll tell you this, guys. when the 2017 Australian Grand Prix rolls by in about 13 weeks from now, we'll be sitting on the grid, or we won't.
We won't be.
We'll be in the stands,
here.
watching it like 3 in, and then they'll say the 5 lights are out and away we go. Kimi Raikkonen will be the oldest driver in Formula 1, I think alongside Fernando Alonso. And yeah, as I say, Jenson and Felipe will be sitting on the sidelines watching it with a beer or, whatever.
With us.
Watching the race. And yeah, with us.
that would be pretty cool.
It will be strange. JT, that'll be the strangest thing. As I say, we'll come around to 2017 and the lights will go out. And as Martin Brundle said, not famously, but he said on Sky Sports F1, he said that he remembers when he retired the year after, when they started the season. Again, it was on Australia. They started the season, and he said that he saw the cars on the formation lap, and he said he'd already been to the toilet, but he said he nearly went to the toilet again because he was like, "Oh my god, I need to get in the car. What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm not in the car. Get me back in the car." And he was like,
"Get my car ready.
Running up and down. He was running up and down the paddock, going, "Get me in this car. I'm so late." Then someone just turns to him and goes, "Martin, you're not in Formula 1 anymore." He goes, "Oh, right." But it will be strange though. I mean, as Jenson, again, as he said in the interview, he's been in there 17 years. That's all he knows. So when he sees the formation lap, and when he sees the 5 lights out in Australia, he will find it weird, much like Felipe. But it's going to be sad, isn't it, JT, to see the 2017 Australian Grand Prix and Massa's gone, Button's gone, and Raikkonen is the oldest driver.
It is going to be so weird as well. And even more weird than that is when Hamilton and Vettel become the oldest drivers in Formula 1. Honestly, guys, times are changing in Formula 1, but I am very, very disappointed and gutted that these two are leaving. But it is the right call. It is the right time. They've done what they had to do. They've been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. Then I'll go out on the passengers new. And from the F1 Debate Show, we do wish them the very best of luck. And we do hope that we see them in the paddock very, very soon. So the next topic we're going to move on to is some big news that is coming out of McLaren. Now, as you all know, last week on the last F1 Debate Show, episode 33, we discussed that Ron is leaving McLaren after I think about 30 odd years of teamwork with McLaren. And there was a big rumour that Zach Brown was going to be joining McLaren, and this week it has actually been confirmed that Zach Brown will be joining McLaren as the executive director of McLaren, basically one of the top guys in form at McLaren Motorsport, replacing the outgoing Ron Dennis. And so, like we explained in the last episode, Zach Brown, for all you that don't know much about him, he's very close friends with Bernie Ecclestone and Chase Carey, who obviously the head guy at Liberty Media, who is about to take over Formula 1. And there was a big rumour going about that he could either be working for the FIA or Liberty Media, or he could be going to McLaren. Well, so he's actually decided to jump ship from there to leave his friends and to join McLaren. Now, this has been like a bit of a sort of one of them topics where like some fans are saying it's good, some fans are saying it's bad. Now, I'm a McLaren fan. I think it's a good move, in my opinion, so far, from what I'm hearing, because apparently he's going to get more sponsorships in. He's going to get a title sponsor, like what they had when Vodafone was around, because I haven't had one since they left. They're going to have some stability in the team. I'll get them getting words out eventually. Stability in the team. Obviously bringing in Stoffel Van Dorn. Hopefully he's going to be there for a while. Alonso hasn't got long left, so they have to bring someone else in. And Elsie, this could be our prodigy driver who could be coming in very, very soon. Replacing Alonso could be Nick De Vries. So I am very, very excited about that. But obviously I know you're not a McLaren fan, Elsie, but obviously you've got to have your say on this. So do you think Zach Brown going to McLaren, bear in mind that we don't know much about him yet, all I know is he's 45 years old and he's good friends with Bernie Ecclestone and Chase Carey. So is this a good move for McLaren? Can they actually build from this and become the great team they once were? Or do you think this is a bad move and he could actually run the team into the ground? That would be tragic.
Well, again, I mean, yes, of course, JT, it'll be tragic. Again, it's young blood, obviously much younger, 45 to 60 odd, whatever Ron Dennis was, very, very younger. Yeah. Maybe he's bringing in better ideas. Hopefully. But as you said, JT, we don't know too much about him. But the bigger thing, though, as you said, that obviously as he's friends with Chase Carey, friends with Bernie Ecclestone and Liberty Media. He could have gone with them, but hopefully, let's take this as a positive thing, and that he will bring things into McLaren. Obviously, he will bring in hopefully sponsorship, money, which obviously is important. And again, that's what Ron Dennis struggled with. Money does run Formula 1, guys. We're just going to say that for about the 50th time, and hopefully the last time until next season, because it does. I mean, obviously, as we saw Ron Dennis. You know how amazing that guy is with doing everything. He ran partnerships and blah blah blah. We talked about that in a few episodes ago. But remember, he struggled with the money to get McLaren in. Obviously, other team principals and other bosses have. Anyway, sorry. So money runs Formula 1, as you know. So hopefully, this new guy can bring in sponsorship and things like that matter. But as I'm going to say, it's young blood. Hopefully he knows what he's doing. Hopefully he can just drive it forward. He's got a new driver in, obviously Stoffel Van Dorn, younger, much younger, obviously than Jenson and Fernando. You've got, Fernando, he knows what he's doing, double world champion. I hope this is the rebirth of McLaren, and hopefully it might be Liberty Media, McLaren, Honda. Can Liberty Media sponsor McLaren? Probably not, because they all Formula One. But but you know what I mean. Obviously, hopefully they can go forward in that direction. But there's not too much really to say about them. We don't know, as you say, we don't know much about it. But at least he's come in now. Yeah. Between the penultimate and the final round, because as I say, JT, it gave the final round. It's almost like Ron Dennis. It's almost like the passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Then obviously he's got winter of 2016/2017 to work on the car. Hopefully Spanish winter testing comes around in 2017, and then obviously Australia and onwards, and then the car is hopefully pitch perfect, and he's got where he wants to be, as opposed to obviously maybe taking over halfway through the season. Because if it was a summer break, obviously the passing of the torch would maybe be Belgium, and then by Italy he would be the big cheese, and maybe that's when he would maybe struggle. So maybe it's a good thing that he's taken over now, and that he has got, as I say, the rest of the season, the winter break to work on the car and things like that. Anyway, so we're going to move off McLaren and we're going to go up the road quite a bit to Mercedes. And as you know, and as we've mentioned in many episodes, we've talked about it in the 33, we talked about it in the most recent big debate, and that obviously is the duel in the desert, which is Hamilton and Rosberg. It is absolutely unbelievable that it's come down to this. Again, we love a season climax. Obviously, we had one in 2014, which obviously went down quite well, but obviously it was very, very, very unfortunate for Nico Rosberg, who had an ERS failure, and obviously a mechanical problem with the car, and obviously, again, one of the most remembered kind of messages that Nico sent, and obviously I'll remember it, and JT remember it, and all that, is when obviously I think whoever his race engineer was, I think actually it was Paddy Lowe at that time, because obviously it was massive news that he had to tell him. Obviously he told him that he had an ERS failure, we'll have to retire the car, but then Nico Rosberg said, I would really like to go to the end. Then they went, like, we'll work it out, can he? And then went, yeah, you can do. It might be sneaky, it might be coughing when it gets back to the garage finally, but yeah, you will finish. Obviously, he wanted to finish. I think that was like a legacy thing. I think that was like a, again, like a Massa in 2008 thing to do. It was like, that was showing how much of a good sport he was. Because obviously, if he just retired straight, he could have got out of the car, could have took the steering wheel, gone and done a raj. He could have, thrown a tantrum, doing it on the track. So obviously, he could have done that. But he didn't. Thankfully, he finished the race, which was really great. Obviously, Lewis won the race. Yes, very good sport from him. Anyway, so we fast forward 2 years, and nothing has changed. It's back in the desert. It's back fighting, gloves out and things like that. Anyway, so we're just going to give you some statistics on what has happened. Now, obviously, a lot of people have been keeping in touch with Sky Sports F1, who have been giving them where they need to finish, the permutations, as it's called, obviously, and they'll give them through the race and things like that. So, obviously, as we all know, if Hamilton wins the race, Nico Rosberg need a third position. Now, we talked about this in the F1 Debate Show, episode 33, where we mentioned about Hamilton obviously winning the race, but there's been 18 times where a Mercedes has finished on the... 17 times a Mercedes has finished, both of them on the podium, which obviously is great. So if Hamilton comes first, the chances of Nico Rosberg coming second are very high, and the chances of him coming third are much higher. If Hamilton finishes second, Nico needs 6th place. If Hamilton finishes third, so again the bottom step of the podium, Nico needs 8th. If Hamilton finishes 4th, Nico needs the bottom place in the points positions, which obviously is 10th place. And then if anything happens to Hamilton and he finishes lower than 5th, which by the way, guys, has happened on many occasions. Obviously, let's rewind a year and a half ago to Hungary 2015, which again was which was the best race of the 2015 season. Obviously, as we know, Hamilton had all those problems. He finished, it was at 6th place, had so many problems, and we were thinking, oh my god, Hamilton is actually flawed by... Obviously, he had a bit of problems, but it was almost like his own driving. And oh my god, we're actually a bit like the turn of Vettel. We're actually seeing the turn of Hamilton. Like, oh my god, what's happening here? Anyway, so if anything happens to Hamilton and he finishes 5th or lower, that's all it. Rosberg has won. Rosberg could DNF at that point. He actually could just get out of the car and just want to have a cup of coffee. He has won the World Championship. So JT, the thing that I'm just going to mention with you is obviously, as you know, 2014, Hamilton had the lead, but it was very much like... both drivers were kind of equal on the seesaw, but now Hamilton... the odds are stacked more so in Rosberg's favour, and that's sad. It is, isn't it? Because Hamilton, obviously, as I said in the debate episode 33, Hamilton can win the race. That's his best. But Rosberg can come almost either do like a cheeky, I'm just going to finish third place to rub it in your face. And the odds are very much in Rosberg's favour, aren't they?
Yeah, Rosberg is odds-on favourite to win the championship. And to be fair, if he does, I think he does deserve it, because people are saying he doesn't deserve it or anything. But guys, this is probably one of the tightest and best title challenges we have ever had in Formula 1. As obviously LC just basically giving about what the hell is going to happen should Hamilton finish here, if Rosberg finishes here. Basically, if Rosberg has got the easy job, really, all he has to do is finish on the podium, which is obviously it's possible. But imagine if both cars actually retire, how mental. If like Rosberg, say like he retires on like the first corner or something, oh no, he's retired. Then like Hamilton retires like during the race, it's like, wow, it'd be absolutely gutted as well. But make sure that you do stay tuned for this race. I think we'll be doing a live session. I'm not too sure about that yet. Obviously, I know LC is away, so it might be me after getting back on that. But if I can, that'll be one of the best live streams we'll ever do, and it will be a brilliant way to end the season. But my opinion, I think it's going to be Rosberg for the title. LC thinks it'll be Hamilton. But let's see who's right. As ever, leave your comments in the comment box below as to who you think will win the title. So the last thing we're going to move on to is Sauber. Now, Sauber haven't had a good season, but a little bit more positive news is coming out of the paddock this week, is that Marcus Ericsson has signed for another year, and this is going to be his third season in Formula 1 in 2017. Now, we're bringing this story into the debate just briefly, because Sauber have now up to 10th in the Constructors, overtaking Manor for the first time this season, scoring their first haul of points since last season, so obviously congratulations to them. Now, Marcus Ericsson does bring a lot of money into the team, which is really, really good, it's what Sauber needs. But now it's all about the other vacant seat as well. Will Felipe Massa be there? Now, there is talks about Esteban Gutierrez coming into that seat as well. Apparently, Sergei Sorokin is very high linked with that seat, going to bring in some more money there. So it's all about money right now with Sauber. I think it's a bad thing that they actually have to discuss money, but maybe in a way, finishing ahead of Manor could actually prevent that and say, well, okay, Nasa, you're not bringing as much money into Sergei, but we'll keep it in because we've got that extra $30 million for overtaking Manor. So I think this is a brave move from Sauber. I don't know what is going to go and happen. But in my opinion, I think Marcus Ericsson is a good driver, but unfortunately, I think it's all about the money that's hindering that talent away from him, if you know what I mean. Taking that away from Formula 1, there's loads of other guys that could have had that seat. But I think someone else should have had it. Marcus Ericsson, he's a good driver, but he's not the best. There is better out there. But I think money, as like I said, LC, money is taking over Formula 1 once again. So what's your opinion about Marcus Ericsson taking that seat at Sauber?
Well, obviously, it's very good for him. It's good for Sauber also, obviously, 2 points. But the bigger thing, though, JT, is that you've got to think about, obviously, Felipe Nasser has scored those 2 points, and Marcus Ericsson hasn't. So you think, why is 0 points being signed before 2 points?
Exactly.
But it's all open to what's actually going to happen. But obviously, we're going to give you more updates as the season, as obviously the winter break progresses. But as we said, guys, that is it.
Yes,
that is the last F1 debate show of the 2016 Formula 1 season. And when we see you next week, it'll all be over and we'll be in the Christmassy mood.
A lot to discuss.
So, obviously, thank you very much for watching, guys. Look up in the sky. Santa Claus will be on his very soon. And obviously we'll see. We hope you have had an amazing 2016 Formula 1 season. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, with us as well. We will see you next week when we'll be actually excited about the 2017 season. So we'll see you then, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later, guys. Take care.